Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the two new Match Pass players. I'm also going to give you some recommendations for who I personally believe are the best value players for 3, 4 and 5-star nominating contracts out of all the current packs. So, we've looked at the J-League pack. We've got a bunch of 3 and 4 stars in there. That video is live on the channel. I'll put a link on the screen around about now so you can check that out if you want to. We've also looked at the Brazilian League pack. In that pack we have 1 3-star, a bunch of 4 stars, a couple of 5 stars. Again, I'll put a link on the screen around about now if you want to check out the video review for that pack. And then lastly, we've done a review of the National Stars pack. There's only 6 players in that pack. They're all 5 stars. So again, the link should pop up about now if you want to check out that review. So I'll give you my recommendations for each of the 3, 4 and 5-star contracts now. Starting with the 3 stars. So there's only 1 3-star I wouldn't recommend out of the current packs. That's Nkunku from the J-League pack. I just think he's not very good in any of his positions, to be honest. But the other 2 from the J-League pack, Fukumoto, he might not be the biggest keeper. He's not great with his reach, his catching or his parrying, but his awareness and reflexes are the 2 most important things, and he's excellent with both. If you've got an 88 rated manager, he'll hit 90 with both his awareness and reflexes, and for a 3-star keeper, that's fantastic. I've got a previous version of him that was a 3-star. It's not quite as good as this one. It's done alright for me in the J-League Challenge. So as a goalkeeping option for the J-League Challenge, I think for a 3-star contract, good value. Morita as a kind of deep line playmaker, he's not brilliant defensively, but if you play him as a centre midfielder, as an orchestrator, or even as an attacking midfielder, but especially as a centre mid with the orchestrator playing style active, I think he's really tidy. The only reason this guy's a 3-star is because his registered position's a DMF. If his registered position was CMF, he'd be probably early 90s. He'd be easily a 4-star. So this guy for me as a playmaking centre midfielder, I think it's really good value for a 3-star contract. And then Matheus Gonçalves from the Brazilian League pack, be very careful with his end product. He can't pass, cross or shoot really, but if you're very careful with his passing and his shooting and make sure you don't ask too much of him, the strengths he's got with his pace and his dribbling, if you play him to those strengths, he could be a really fun one to use. And again, when that league challenge pops out with the Brazilian League Challenge for a 3-star contract, it could be good value and a very usable player in those challenges. On to the 4 stars. And this is a tricky one this time around. So as you can see, I've got more players on the screen than I normally do. But what we've got here is we've got options in a bunch of positions. I'll start with these 2 guys in the middle here. We've got the right back, Samuel Xavier. He's got unwavering form, and he's pretty all right on the whole, to be honest. He's not amazing anywhere, but there's no major weaknesses, except maybe if you like your fullbacks to be a bit bigger and stronger, because he's a tiny guy, and his pace isn't quite what you probably want from a fullback. But outside of that, when you bear in mind he's a 4-star card, I think he's pretty tidy. So again, like a lot of these cards, we're looking primarily at the league challenges. For the Brazilian League Challenge, for a 4-star contract, I think he could be pretty good value. Ito from the J-League Challenge, centre midfielder. As I mentioned when I was looking at him, the previous 4-star version of him was an orchestrator, and it was better than this one. So it's a little bit disappointing that he's not better than he is, but he's still a solid midfield option. If you need midfielders for your J-League squad, he could be worth picking up for a 4-star contract. Now, these other pairs, you've got 4 other pairs of players here, and you've basically got 2 options in each case. First up, we've got wingers. Gustavo Silva, pace and dribbling again. He does have a shot on him though. So with his passing and crossing, be careful. Don't ask too much of him. But when it comes to finishing and his attacking awareness as well, being about 80, he could be a decent option. Get him on the wing, I think, especially on the left-hand side, cutting inside, getting into good positions. Don't ask too much of him, but certainly with his finishing, he could have some end product for you. Nasang Ho, one thing to keep in mind with him, unwavering form. But again, he's got pace. He's got a bit of end product. He's not just got a bit of finish on him. He's got a cross on him as well if you put him on the right-hand side. So yeah, pace, dribbling, a bit of end product. Both these guys are very much 4-star cards. As I mentioned with the end product, there is a question mark there. But with the qualities they've got, you play into their strengths, especially in the league challenges, they could be useful cards to pick up for a 4-star contract. Over here, we've got 2 striker options. So we had a bunch of 4-star strikers out of the current packs for nominating contracts, and none of them massively stood out to me. The only one I was really keen on was Suzuki. The only reason I put Diego Oliveira alongside him here is because they're really similar when you look at the attributes. When I was looking at them initially, I wasn't overly keen on Oliveira, but when you look at the attributes, they're really, really similar. The only real key difference, apart from the fact that Suzuki's got unwavering form, is that Suzuki's got a little bit more offensive awareness. I think that's the main reason why he's got 91 for his rating instead of 90, which is what Oliveira's got. But the one thing Oliveira's got is a bit more kicking power, really. There's not really much else difference between the 2, even with the skills they've got. They're both kind of physical all-rounders who will kind of lead the line as with their Fox in the box playing style. I've used them both before, as I mentioned. I've never been overly keen on Oliveira. He feels a bit more clunky and cumbersome on the ball than Suzuki does. That's not to say that Suzuki's great on the ball, because he's not. Don't try doing too much dribbling with him or anything like that. Keep it simple with him. But in my experience, Suzuki felt a bit nicer. But Oliveira, a bit more physical. He's got a bit more kicking power. Ultimately, they're very similar, and I think neither of them are amazing. But with a 4-star contract, if you need a striker for the J-League challenge, they're decent and they could be worth a contract. And then down here we've got 2 attacking midfielders. They are very, very similar, and what they're all about is not pace, not dribbling. It's just about the end product. They're technically sound and they've got really nice passing. They'll create chances for you. So the one thing that it comes down to with both these guys is just the playing style. If you'd like a whole player, get Morishima. If you'd like a creative playmaker, get Felipe Mateus. But if you want an attacking midfielder, you're not too bothered about the pace or the dribbling. You just want one who's technically sound, is going to get on the ball and be really good at passing. Just pick a play style, and these guys are both very tidy for a 4-star contract. And then finally down here, centre-backs. There's, I forget his name, the centre-back in the Brazilian League pack is also a 4-star centre-back with plenty of qualities, but he's a destroyer with low defensive engagement, and that's a big no for me. But these 2 guys, Nakatani and Mateus Tule, both build up. Nakatani, the one real issue with him is that he's a little bit lacking in the air. He's not got aerial superiority, so aerially there's a bit of a weakness there. Apart from that, pretty tidy centre-back. Tule, a bit more of an all-rounder. He is solid in the air, but he's not quite got the attributes of Nakatani, but they're both pretty solid centre-back options. So in these 4 corners of the screen here, you've got options. You could pick both, you could pick neither, but either of the 2 in any of these cases I think could be useful. And then these 2 in the middle here as well. Ito could be a solid midfield option. I quite like Samuel Xavier as a nippy little right back. So for a 4-star contract, quite a few options this time around. I don't think any of these stand out as being amazing, but anyone on this screen here I personally think could be decent value for you. And then on to the 5 stars. So I've basically picked a bunch of attacking players out. I'm going to say before I talk about these guys, I did consider putting Kivior in, the Arsenal centre-back. The only reason I didn't is because he's desperately lacking skills. If you give Kivior the skills he needs, and he needs at least 3 skills to make him a viable centre-back, if you give him those skills, he could be really, really good. But the fact that he doesn't have those skills, I don't feel like I can really recommend him. But onto these guys, as I mentioned with the review, Jota and Bowen, both guys you could train to play out wide or through the centre, and I think both could be really good wherever you use them. Díaz Skater, attacking midfielder, playing through the middle. He's technically very sound. He used to be a whole player. He's now a creative playmaker, so keep that in mind. I love the whole player version that I got from the Brazilian League pack. If you like the playing style creative playmaker, I think you could really like this guy as well. And then Paulinho, I wasn't sure about putting him in, but I think, to be honest, the main doubt I had over him, the main disappointment was that he's not a whole player anymore. They made him a deep line forward as a playing style I don't like. But if you do like that playing style, and if you want a version of Paulinho, you could use the centre forward. He could be a really nice one to pick up because he does have some good attributes and some good skills. So he's a pretty good card. One thing to mention, the skills listed on eFootball Hub are wrong in some cases. Bowen does not have through passing. The other skater does have through passing. I put a note on the video I did reviewing this pack. But if you didn't catch that, keep that in mind. But yeah, I think out of all these, Bowen would be my pick. I think whether you train him as to play wide right, or if you play him as a centre forward without an active playing style, I think he could be very, very good. All these guys are good, but Bowen probably my pick out of all of them. So now on to the match pass, and we've got a bit of mathematics as always. So value, Christopher Nkunku, 500 coins is the price. If it's the first time you purchase the value match pass, you'll get it half price, and if you complete all the matches, you've got 200 coins back. The premium match pass, you get Luis Díaz. It's 1,000 coins. If it's your first time purchasing the premium match pass, you get a half price again. And if you complete all the matches, you've got 300 coins back. So there's your mathematics. Let's have a look at those 2 players and we'll see if they're any good. We start with Nkunku from the value match pass. So first thing to say about Nkunku, we've had 3 special versions of Nkunku in the past. All 3 of them went up to 96. This guy goes up to 95. So this is not as good as the previous versions of him. If you've got a previous version of him, then you might not be too keen on this guy. So I just want to mention that. But he is still good. He can play through the middle. You can play him as a number 10, or you can play him wide left. I think in both cases you can make him pretty decent. So with the auto allocation, obviously very good on the ball. It's got decent pace, great balance, got a bit of end product. And if we hit that game plan boost, you can see here, very, very nice. I think just looking at that with the value match pass, if you like the look at this guy, I think pretty good value. Fantastic on the ball here. Would I do much to change him? It depends where you're going to play him. For me personally, if I'm going to play him through the centre as a kind of number 10, I mean, first things first, you're not going to play him centre mid. He has no defensive ability, so forget about that. But as an attacking midfielder or an SS, playing behind the attack, I think the only thing I'd look to do personally, I would give him a bit more passing. You can certainly save a few from his dribbling. It's entirely up to you. If you want to just focus on the dribbling, he's fantastic. But for me personally, I'd like him to have a bit more end product. So that is what I would do, playing him through the centre. Attacking mid or SS. So you take a bit from the dribbling, get his passing up to 90. I've actually scrimped a few points and put them on physical contact because you only need 3 points to get his physical up to 70. I think that's quite nice in the middle of the park. It's still got good pace, the awareness over 80, finishing up to 80. The one concern with his attributes is his stamina. He's got terrible stamina at 72. So he will get tired very quickly. He'll probably get tired late in the first half, and certainly by about the hour mark, he'll be knackered, and you'll probably need to bring him off. You could use him as a sub. He doesn't have the super sub skill, but you could still use him as a sub. It's just you do need to keep that stamina in mind. One other thing to keep in mind: eFootball Hub is not quite accurate on some of the skills it's listing for players, as I mentioned with Bowen and Díaz Skater. With Nkunku, there are 3 skills missing here that he does have. He also has chip shot control, but more importantly, he has long range curler and he has through passing. So one touch pass and through passing makes him a perfect fit for attacking midfield. Those two are probably the most important skills for an attacking mid, or if you play him as an SS behind the attack. And they'll go really well with that nice passing. Long range curler, though, a useful one, especially if you're going to play him wide left. Looking at the rest of his skills, a heel trick and outside curler are nice ones to have. A couple of skill moves for the dribble merchants. Yeah, so that's how I train him to play through the middle. If I train him to play wide left, I would do that. So you can take someone away from the passing. It doesn't need to be quite so high. Giving him a bit more pace there. See, up to 91 speed, 90 acceleration, 90 kicking power, 94 balance, still 90 plus on the ball. All these three. Still at 80 plus in his awareness and his finishing. The passing is still nice, especially with that long range curler skill. Fantastic. These numbers aren't 100% accurate, but they're a good rough guide. And as you can see there, as a left winger forward, 100 rated, he's very, very good. So I'm not sure which way I'd train him personally. Whether it's the first way I just showed you, playing through the middle, or wide left, I'm not sure which is better. I think probably wide left, but both ways you could have a really fantastic player on your hands. It's a shame he's not as good as the previous versions of Nkunku, but if you've not got one of those previous versions and you don't mind the fact that this isn't quite as good, I do think this is a really good card. So if you're looking at one of the match passes and you like to look at this guy for 500 coins, getting all those coins back as well if you complete all the matches, could be really good value. So yeah, it's a good card, this, just not as good as the previous versions of him. And then we have our premium match pass player. We've got Luis Díaz from Liverpool. So I think it's obvious where the concern is. You can see he's got great pace, he's great on the ball, but where's the end product? Horrible passing, finishing 75. It's not too bad, but it could be better. So even if we hit that game plan boost there, you see the passing still low and lofted, still below 70. Fantastic on the ball, great pace. I think we need to shuffle some of these points around. I'm just going to get straight to it. I've pre-prepared a build on him. That's what I'd do. It's not major surgery that I performed there. I've just shuffled a few points around, but at least we've got his finishing up to the 80 mark. The low and lofted pass, or at least over the 70 mark. Still 90 plus, all 3 of these on the ball. Over 80 attacking awareness. Speed and acceleration still over 90. Still got great pace. Pretty good kicking power. Bounce hits 80. I'd like it to be a bit higher, to be honest, but still 80's alright. Stamina's okay. Certainly better than Nkunku. If you look down the skills, these skills are accurate. I've checked them. A few skill moves for you if you're one of these skill merchants. Soul control's lovely. Acrobatic finishing, pinpoint crossing, even though he can't cross to save his life, clearly. Outside curl is nice as well. I think he probably is lacking 1 or 2 skills. Long range curl will be the first one. Maybe you would want to put through passing, maybe his first time shot on him. Clear what he's good at. You're going to want to get him on the ball and just run at defenders. He's going to be great at that. But honestly, for me, whatever all the numbers say, he's not as good as Nkunku. They've done this kind of thing before where, in my opinion, the value match pass player is better. And that's definitely the case this time. I think Nkunku is better than Luis Díaz, but this guy is a fun dribbler. You get him on the ball, you run at defenders. If that's your type of player, he's really good at that. Just have to be very careful with his passing and his crossing. The finishing, if you train in the way I've just trained in there, it's entirely up to you, but you can get up to 80, so you will have a good shot on him. but I think it's worth picking 1-2 skills, and it maybe long range curler, first time shot. But yeah, if you're careful with the end product, for the type of player he is, the pace and the dribbling could be a really fun one to use. But I do think that Luis Díaz, as the premium match pass player, represents significantly less value than Christopher Nkunku. So there you go. That's the 2 match pass players covered, and my recommendations for all the nominating contracts. Hopefully you found all that useful. As I mentioned, there are a few more videos to come. I'm going to be reviewing the 2 packs, the 100 coin packs with the European players and the rest of the world players, the one with Barrios in it. I'll review those. I'm definitely going to be reviewing the national team packs, the ones with the managers in them. So keep your eyes up for those. There's 1-2 more player face videos as well. A lot of videos to get through. So yeah, keep your eyes on the channel. More videos coming up. Hopefully you found this useful. I hope I've helped you to decide who you use your nominating contracts on. Thank you for watching. As always, do appreciate it. I will see you soon.